views and opinions expressed by the host do not necessarily state or reflect those of the hospital and its management. Furthermore, the views and opinions of the guests do not reflect those of the host, the show, the management, and the hospital. Lastly, no copyright infringement intended. All materials used and music background credit to the owner for public service purposes only.
Good evening mga ka-quarantine and welcome to the Debunking Myths. Alright, maayong gabi mga ka-quarantine. Good evening, Dr. Helen.
Maayong gabi, attorney. How are you there?
How are you there, mga ka-quarantine? No, kumusta, Dr. Helen?
Mayo man. It's all again, no? Another week.
Another debunking week, no? So we are very happy nga Lunes na sad. Kayod na sa tag mga maayo, mga ka-quarantine, no? Usay pa mayon ka nga, di na ako ganahan mo trabaho. Oy, ay my God, kinahanglan ta mo trabaho kay pobre. Trabaho. Kayod ng good mga quarantine kay we are now in November 9. Gamay na lang yung mga adlaw, Pasko na, no? So let's acknowledge our live viewers, Dr. Helen, our online viewers.
Waving hi, no, to Joppy Girl and Daya. It's a rainy Monday, mga quarantine. Hello mga mabibong gabi kaninyong tanan.
Wow, mabibong gabi. Thank you so much. Ano ma'am, kung sa itong mga nagtanaw, mga Sotonians, our family from the Department of Health, let's really, spread this because
share watch party kay naadiri ang inyong usa ka bossing.
Correct. Sa di pa na nato siya hisgut-hisgutan, no? Ang iyang mga mates nga gidala kay gugmar ba nato hisgutan ron.
Yes.
Let's have our social.
Yes, that we are on Facebook for the Facebook Live or official BSMMC on Facebook and on Twitter. And all of these videos will be recorded and can be replayed through YouTube.
Correct, in our YouTube account which is Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center. So please watch our videos. You can check there for official announcements directly from the hospital. Unsa pa inyong pwede makatunan. Okay?
And if you have videos or photos that you want to send us or mga kwentong COVID-19, you can email us at vsmmc_osm@yahoo.com.
Huwag na nasa tayo bago nga email ad. Ang itawag na ito nga osm@vsmmc.doh.gov.ph mga quarantine. Okay?
And because we have a very interesting topic tonight,
what's the topic?
You can also comment on our live feed so that we can review or we can read out your questions for our very special guest for tonight.
Since karong gabi imagod atong paghisgot-hisgutan ang usa ka butanga which is higher than the rest good.
Yes.
Ang atong gitawag og love. Gugma. Yes, mga ka-quarantine, dili paron Valentine's Day, pero kada adlaw, it's always good to talk about love.
Especially love in the time of COVID-19.
I thought love in the time of cholera. No, there's a good novel on that. And now it's love in the time of coronavirus. So, unsa man ning gitawag natong gugma? It's always, ikaw, Dr. Helen, kinsa man nimo love?
I love everybody.
Wow, safe answer. Artista na ka. O kamo, love mo na mo mga ka-quarantine. Kaya imagine, this is our 42nd. Ikaw, Bisaya pa, 142 na day ka episodes, no?
Yes.
Ang walang damha nga nagsugod og tungod kay siya may nagsugod.
Oo, because you remember March 25, ang atong sugod nga Facebook Live, and he was our very first guest here, no?
First. Wala pa ning mga LED TV ha, wala pa na, no?
And every week ako siyang gi-invite, no? Pero karon ra gyud siya nagkaroon ng time kay busy man kaayo ni siya. Dili siya ma-invite, no? Di siya maka-physical presence.
Nagpasalamat gyud ta nga ni drop na gyud ang kaso sa COVID kay nakalugar gyud in town ni si doktor dire. O kamo diha, please shout out for your loved ones. And any form of love, please shout out para ato mabasa live diri sa Soto, no? Sa atong Soto live sa Debunking Myths kay kita abot og 45 countries all over the world based on our Facebook insights. So, Dr. Helen,
calling on all of the HIV treatment hubs. Kinahanglan manood kayo ng itong episode na to kasi kilala nyo ito siya. All of the treatment hubs in Central Visayas. Please watch party, share to your patients, share to your staff, share to all of your co-workers.
Kay kini. Kung ano ni, panagsar gini kay ligon kayang schedule ani niya. Okay, Dr. Helen, let's introduce our guest for love in the time of coronavirus.
Okay, our special guest for tonight is a Medical Officer 3 of the Department of Health Central Visayas, Center for Health Development, and he's a Medical Officer or Regional Medical Program Manager for Emerging and Re-Emerging Infectious Diseases. Kaya naman ang busy-busy niya kasi under sa kanya ang COVID-19. Integrated Helminthiasis Control Program, Schistosomiasis Elimination and Control Program, and National AIDS STI Prevention and Control Program of the Department of Health Central Visayas Center for Health Development. Class valedictorian to siya. So, Beauty and Brains. Development Academy of the Philippines, Tagaytay Masters for Development and Management. In 2019, siya po ang class valedictorian. And he had his Doctor of Medicine at West Visayas State University College of Medicine in Iloilo. And he is also a nurse, no, Bachelor of Science in Nursing at the University of Bohol College of Nursing. Mga ka-quarantine, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you tonight my very good friend, Dr. Van Philip Baton.
Yes! Right! Wow!
Van, kamusta?
Kamusta, Doktor?
Ito, buhay na.
Buhay pa din. Unsa man nato ang mga kuandok ka na nakapapush nato to move forward despite katong mga nangagi sa mga pila ka buwan.
I think nindot niya, I think one of the things that made things improve is social engagement, no, sa mga social media like this one that made people really realize that COVID is not just government response but individual responsibility.
Correct, no? So this is really great, no, nga ang tungod aning COVID ba murag tungod sa COVID ang grabe ang social media engagement ug mas napaabot na nato ang atong mga gustong ipaabot sa mga tao, no? It's very healthy and I know DOH is really working so hard for the past months, no? So grabe kayo. So karon Dr. Helen, our topic kay love, no?
By special request kasi yung love in the time of COVID-19. Ako, if I were the one invited, wala siguro ako masasagot, no? But I'm glad because he knows all about love. Can you tell us a little about your love life?
Well, love life. I have a stable partner that will be 5 years, February next year.
Wow! 5 years na, Dr. Helen! Sana all, no? That's very good and I know it's so happy because you cannot teach what you don't have. And this is, in Soto Live Mango, this is talking about experience also, no? Aside from expertise. So, experience at panghisgutan here. So, tonight, we will be talking about love in the time of coronavirus. Yan na siya sa debunking myths. Yan na mga myths ang love in time of coronavirus, Doc?
I think, maling akala.
Maling catfishing. Alright, so, I think let's start. Okay, sige, let's start.
Ating myths. So, more people are more prone to have sex during home isolation.
Myth number 1.
Okay.
Myth, karoon na to ni. mga ka-quarantine, mga inyong mga mabasa diya sa screen mo na mga myth, no, mga tuo-tuo or mga tawag sa myth, mga beliefs, no, mga gipang hunahuna nga mauna siya. And here in debunking myths atong hisgutan unsay mga facts and truth behind that, no? So people are more prone to have sex during home isolation.
Yes.
Doctor.
So I think klaro no myth siya, but there's some truth to that. I was searching for studies no regarding sexual behavior during COVID-19. And actually there is only a handful of studies, no. And one of the studies I found was in Italy. No? They had also, I think they had the first national lockdown no, in Italy. And they found out that actually people did not have more sex. People had an increase in the desire to have sex, but they had lesser sexual acts.
Oh, okay. It's just the desire,
Yeah, that parang reassures me. Kaya I am an OBGYN, and I'm worrying about a surge in
for December
patients of November, December. So it's a myth kasi I was thinking na ang magtiayo, no, or are trapped in the house with nothing else to do but to have sex. So eventually they'll get pregnant and the problem will be ours.
Correct. So it's more of it's the desire. Ato ginaklaro ko no nga, it is the desire. And why we are talking about this mga quarantine, of course, this is also for public information and education that we base it also in the medical side, especially we have very good doctors here nga makita na to atong mahisgut-hisgutan siya. Okay?
But I would like to add no, regarding sa sex manggod, different countries have different perception. Like for example, also in terms of gender expression.
Yes.
For the studies we're focusing more on heterosexual couples, but in homosexual relationships, I think it's a totally different dynamic. No?
Different dynamic.
Yeah. So I think we also studied that we also tracked the sexual acts Helen regarding sa HIV program, no? And actually the quarantine made it difficult also. So I think it's also a factor that you have the desire, but you really have the difficulty of engaging with people. So that's why
because of quarantine rules.
Quarantine rules, especially when you're in ECQ. So muto nga, we actually are expecting a surge in sexual acts now that is actually relaxed. So during, I think it's more on the strictness of the quarantine protocols that made it difficult for people to have sex with other people. But in the United States, the messaging was actually the best sexual partner is yourself. So that's why there was also a surge in pornographic activity during
I think because at that time gani gipang I heard the news that at that time remove ang mga restrictions to these sites so that people have something to see and something to watch. So para dili sa murag ma-distract, you know, for people nga ma-distract. So at least no, we are talking about that here since this is a medical institution nga kana siya naagay mga kana basis ba, no, mga studies and also news on that. Okay, can we go now to the next or napaka-i-add, Dr. Helen? So it's a myth, mga kahigalaan, ha?
It's a myth,
it's a myth.
I'm glad that it is a myth.
Daghan og napungan. Even other vices, because you cannot go to clubs, you cannot go to bars. Wala naman.
And you cannot really drink, di ba? There was a liquor ban also.
Yeah, liquor ban. So daghan ang hitabo nga naka-restrict siya ana.
So there are a lot of things that were restricted during the COVID-19.
Correct.
And the fact is COVID-19 has changed our healthcare systems.
Correct.
Kung sa before, we could put 8 to 10 patients in one bed. Now, no more.
No more.
The beds even have to be 1 meter apart. So that's why I was really worrying if we can still accommodate all of the pregnant patients coming in. So I'm keeping on contacting the different hospitals so that we can make sure that all patients are accommodated.
Wow. Okay, daghan king salamat na Dr. Helen o Dr. Bato, no? So, thank you.
Sige.
Our second myth.
Second myth. Ayan. Attorney ko naman. Sa'yo yan.
Fighting. I don't fight.
No.
I will read. Okay, I will read, ha? Fighting is a sign of doomed relationship. Okay. Ingon sila kung mag-away kuno ang banag-asawa, partners, or any whatever labels that you have, bisag unsa nga, you know, nga inyong panag-uyab, no, pagkakuyog, because we always respect, you know, sexual orientation, gender identification, and expression, kay we are now in a modern world. Goodbye are the days we are now in the freedom against discrimination. So, bahala kung sa nga mga relasyon. Ang pag-away kuno kay sayon na kuno nga padung na ginibuwag, padung na gyud ni matapos ang tanan. Kung sa matong S. Okay? So, this is a myth. Why this is a myth?
Yeah. Fighting is a sign of a doomed relationship. Actually, one of the studies in that I read in Time magazine, no, there was a university professor who was examining 50 years of data regarding relationships. And actually, one of the fighting in itself, i-qualify, fighting in itself is a form of communication. And communication is one of the best ways to keep relationships healthy. But it's a totally different topic when you talk about physical violence.
Yes, it's not.
Violence
We
is
don't
never
tolerate that.
There was a study in Germany citing from one of the handful studies and research of sexual behavior for COVID-19. They found out in Germany that actually interpersonal violence actually also increased during quarantine. And in the Philippines, it's the same. We actually have one of the studies presented in gender-based violence, especially for violence against women and children, actually increased for 2020. It actually is equal to a 3-year data that we have. No? So imagine that grabe ang increase for gender-based violence and violence. So that's never okay. So the answer is it's a myth because it's never an absolute yes. It's never an absolute no. It could be both. No, so fighting is communication, but once it becomes physical, really you have to get out. Violence is never okay.
Correct.
For whatever purpose or reason it might be.
Fighting is like part of like disagreeing, something,
or
expressing yourself.
That's freedom of speech and expression that you want to say this, or else it can also be a doomed relationship if the other person will just say yes all the time, but deep inside the eye, nanaday mga kalagot,
so para siyang volcano na
i-erupt.
na lang.
So that's why it's the other side na kuyaw po nga. Okay, magay naging partner, di man mo dili, di man masuko. Oo, niya nagdumot na di ay, and then one big fight, putol.
So I guess fighting is okay as long as the issue is resolved.
Correct.
Yes,
If not resolved, then you probably have problems.
So
You can debate, you can debate.
Actually, one of the things would nga advise regarding keeping a good relationship and a healthy relationship is to talk it out. So if there are issues, you need to talk. And sometimes you might disagree. You might agree to disagree. But that's always healthy.
That's healthy.
Parang relationship natin, Doc?
Agreed.
Were you together before?
Parang
it's in friendship,
agreed.
The greatest form of love is friendship.
Yes.
We would spend hours and hours arguing about
That's the greatest form of love.
But in the end, good night, Doc.
So talking is good. Fighting is a sign that you both have different priorities, but you always have the same goal. No?
Yeah.
For couples, it might you might have different ways of approaching your relationship, but you still want the same thing. No?
Yeah.
A healthy and a long-term relationship with each other. But
It's good to be direct and open.
But if it's you're fighting because you have different goals, that is already a sign that you might have outgrown each other. And it's healthy if you think and you saw that you need to move on.
Correct.
Yeah, I think basically kasi you have to have the same direction, you have the same goal, and you're even if you're doing it differently, but at least you are rowing in the same direction.
Correct. Very good, no? So
Parang
fighting is
daming pwedeng maging research.
fighting is okay.
So we have local data as well.
Agreed.
Right. Okay. Very good.
Sige. So, what
Mutuod ko ni Dr. Baton kay 5 years ba ya?
Oo nga.
5 years.
Ako 2 weeks na ba ya?
Ako 0. Okay. Itlog
Alright.
dito. Kabila nga balot dyan. Meron na.
Okay. May balot?
Okay. Sige.
Sige, next.
Having a baby will fix your relationship issue.
Oh my God. Murag 1 hour tayo mag
Bias.
Having a baby will fix your relationship issues.
Yes.
Doctor.
Definitely.
Myth,
It's a myth.
okay?
It's a myth. If you don't see, as mentioned kanina, regarding goals and different ways of approaching towards a goal. But if you want to have a baby just to fix it, actually data suggests that it's not true. No? With the same data that we have regarding gender-based violence, there is actually violence towards pregnant women. So does that mean that you get pregnant, your partner who is abusive will change, or your partner will see the light just because you became pregnant? And I've seen that a lot of women actually use that as a excuse or a handicap that they will get pregnant to change their husband or to make the husband
Ako
more
ning
responsible.
mani kasagaran ng mga linya sa annulment cases nga. Nganong nabuntis man ka. Nagbuntis ko kay para nagtuo manggod ko nga mausab siya kung nanami anak. Which is always ang nagtuo, no? Because it's not a guarantee. And besides, you have to be, responsible parenting.
Actually,
ang pagpanganak kay giplano. Oh, di ba?
Giplano o dapat both of you should want the child.
Yes.
Dapat di pwedeng one-sided.
And also, di ba, having a child is actually, parang, when you love one another, parang sobra yung love nyo sa isa't isa. There's the outpouring of love results in another individual. So, I think if you have relationship issues, having a baby will just complicate things.
Yeah, do not ayaw apila si baby.
Yes, agree.
Yeah, do not make baby as a security matter because a baby is different.
Yeah. And also there's also this mindset that if I get pregnant, he will stay with me or she will stay with me or whatever is your sexual expression or preference. There's the thinking na because we have this, you have no choice but to stay with
Sorry,
me.
it's not a security blanket.
Correct.
It's not.
So that's
okay?
they use it as a way to hostage the relationship.
Yeah.
And it's never okay.
A baby is not a hostage.
Yeah.
A baby is a gift in the relationship.
A gift.
Okay?
And so going back na having a baby will fix relationship issues, data suggests that it's never true and it seldom works. It might work for in just a short amount of span, but it's never a permanent solution. So correct. You need to talk and thrash things out because having a baby is, as again, it complicates things.
Nana may daghan yun, Dani, I'm sure ang atong mga quarantine ka-relate ka na ganing gikan sa dako kay nga away sa ilang relationship, then when nagka-okay sila, gidiretso pabuntis. Okay, para di na ta magubot. Ako na ka. If I win you back again, ako na ka. It's like, dili bitaw siya fair. Di ba, when it comes to love, it should be fair.
And it's unfair to the child.
Unfair to the child, okay? So, especially the law really protects the child, no, for the best interest of the child at all times. Okay? Next.
More pregnancies to expect this year and because couples expressed sexual fantasies during community quarantine.
Muna ni mo muna ni ang mga fears sa tanan nga mga OB.
Yan ang fear ng mga OB.
Si Dr. Dublin kaharo nahadlok pa kani. No?
Well,
Hi, Ma'am Liz!
actually, this is a myth, not because of the more pregnancies, but because of the reason. Our data suggests right now that it's making the access to reproductive contraceptive methods are actually was impeded during
the
ECQ. So we actually saw a very drastic decrease in contraceptives, no? So the injectables had a decrease, although it was sort of the highest for I think 2 years. Nag-drop din siya sa 2020 because of access. Then also for your BTL, which is a permanent solution for men, but it's also a elective. It's an elective. It's not an emergency procedure. So more of the electives are actually stopped during ECQ when we had a surge in cases.
Yes,
no?
So ligation for women, vasectomy for men.
So that's also the reason why we expect, and good thing for the highly urbanized cities. Historically, mataas yung acceptance natin sa Cebu, Mandawi, Lapu-Lapu, and Cebu Province. Our worry is in Bohol, no? Which actually had for a number of years, it has the highest fertility rate in terms of the 4 component provinces. Bohol is probably the highest for that. So, yes, we're expecting more pregnancies. We will be seeing this next year.
Okay, kaya sir, ang wish list ko talaga is that we have a contingency plan for the OB surge.
Agreed.
Kasi we already addressed the COVID surge.
Agreed.
Yeah, now it's the OB surge.
Yes.
And actually, we had a meeting with the family planning. It was a family planning program, and IMAP Bohol was present.
Yeah.
They actually are feeling the surge, the problem right now in Bohol, because this referral hospital actually is refusing. There are hospitals that are refusing normal deliveries. So even at this rate, pa lang nagka-problema na we are having this is a potential problem next year due to COVID-19.
Right. So there, no? So
we have to prepare for that.
we have to prepare for that. O sa di pa siguro ta mo adto sa atong next nga kuan Dr. Helen, no? Our next discussion or napay usapan. Alright, ato sa ating humanon ang usa. Okay, our last myth for tonight. Okay, the relationship that were formed during the crisis tend to last longer compared to other relationships. Agree, disagree?
Disagree.
Sa tanong ninyo diha mga ka-quarantine, agree mo ana nga mga relasyon nga ang mga relasyon nga napurma ron nga panahon sa krisis kay maoy magdugay daw. Ano magdugay man?
No? Actually, for COVID-19, we already had quarantine flings. You heard of the quarantine flings na... Quarantine flings.
Ano yun?
Quarantine flings.
Yeah.
Marang flings. Flings na nga.
Yung bumabalik yung mga ex, yung mga...
Ang mga nasuwayan ni mo sa una, masuwayan ni mo ron.
Ang mga tutga, namalik.
Mo ba? Because I think it's more of kaning unstable emotions
uncertain times.
In uncertain times, yeah. Nanggawa sa mga what ifs.
What ifs?
Yeah.
Like
you have to live every day as if it were your last.
And even the entertainment industry now, mo na ipagawas ng mga klase sa series. Sa mga storya, di ba na may mga gusto kay nga tanawon mga ka-quarantine nga mga kadagabi nga mga shows or mga ang type ng storya nga nabalik or nakalitan o ay pwede mo dahil kami. Ano ba? Or katong mga natilawan sa una. Like ano na, natilawan o nakarelasyon sa una. Ang karoon, nakarelasyon. Okay?
Ang naririnig ko my only source of information kasi is the internet, yung YouTube, Twitter. There are a lot of celebrity couples that have broken up
Yes,
because of COVID-19 rather than,
I think relationships is not merely on how they were formed, but in terms of both of your growth during the relationship. No? It should not be focused just on one person growing and the other stagnating.
It should be growing together.
So I think one of the advice from Dr. Olgowski from Time Magazine, he was advising that relationships actually is not relationships last longer if you both work on the relationship. So it not just be one person na ibigay sa babae that she should work for the relationship or for the man because we are more masculine, we don't talk about it, we keep our emotions together inside. No? So it's not when the relationship is formed, it is how you both see the relationship. So if you see this relationship moving forward, it makes you better, both, no? Not just one individual.
Correct.
You both grow in the relationship. I think that's a good metric for telling if the relationship lasts.
Correct.
But if you think na all relationships in 2020 would end up in the altar or in the matrimonial bed, I think that's a total myth, no? Because
it is.
It's more on how you behave when you are in a relationship rather than when it was formed. So it's definitely
how much each partner would want to work at it, at the relationship. It's a choice rather
It's
than...
not when siya nahimo.
Yes.
Kini magkukunong COVID, aning tan-aw kuno nimo sa imuhang sa una nga di nimo makras ni karon og kalit. Mo cute kuno kalit.
Tungod sa mask.
So that's why ay cute man ni siya. Nagka ano? Yan ani si Shero nga sana all Shera Villanueva, sana all ni balik. Very sad, no? Napaong nagkalit diri nagparamdam ang
mga ex.
Ang mga ghost. Kanang mong ex good kung arita sa math, magsigig ingon ang atong professors, di ba nga? Find the value of x. Sa gini sa mga math teacher. Okay, kung x man good pangitan, find the value of x. Di ba ang x wala na may value? Ako na no? So, hugot. Alright. So di pa tama mo pa dayon mga quarantine matos ang tanan nato mga hospital statistics of the day. Okay? Let's start with the SNL. Ang Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center Sub National Laboratory nitala na sa mga mosunod karong adlaw Lunes sa 9 sa Nobyembre 2020. 553 ka samples ang test karong adlaw ug kini tanan gikan sa Central Visayas. Sa kinatibukan, 102,175 na kasamples ang na-test sukad sa pagsugod sa atong sub-national laboratory. Sa 553, 6 ni ini ang positive o 547 ang negative. So matotal, aduna na kita 11,056 ka positive samples ug 91,055 ka negative samples. 215 ka samples at samtayan ganagan karon sa atong laboratorio. Pahinumdum lang sa tanan nga mga resulta base lang sa mga samples na gitest. Ang Department of Health Regional Centers for Health Development ang pagawas og detalyadong impormasyon mahitungod sa mga positibo o negatibong kaso. Daghang salamat.
Aniya na mga pinakaulahing balita kabahin sa COVID-19 dinhi sa atong tambalanan. Karong adlawng Lunes, petsa 9 sa Nobyembre tuig 2020. Ang Soto mirehistro na sa mga musunod. Sa kinatibuk-an, 1,352 na ang kumpirmadong kaso diri sa atong tambalanan. 550 niini ang nakarecover na. 414 na ang nakudloan ng kinabuhi nga nagikan sa lain-lain nga lugar. Ug kasagtangan aduna pay 16 ang padayong giatiman diri sa atong tambalanan ug 371 usab ang na-transfer sa atong mga isolation centers. For our bed utilization, BSMMC has a total regular bed capacity of 865 beds. And currently, we have 688 patients, which gives us a utilization rate of 79.5%. Our expanded COVID-19 bed capacity is 185 beds, and currently we have 16 patients, giving us a utilization rate of 8.6%. Our ICU bed capacity is 55 beds, and currently we have 17 patients. This gives us a utilization rate of 31%. Dedicated for COVID-19 ICU bed capacity, we have 24 beds, and currently we have 4 patients. This gives us a utilization rate of 16.7%.
Alright. So there, no, we are now in the comments and POV of the topic today of Debunking Myths. So, daghan na ito nakatunan sa mga butang-butang ng love, related to love this time.
Yeah, but I have to mention this, very funny, no? Chera Villanueva mentioned, maayo pang bugas ako ang naong nagdugay.
Oh, may pangbugas na. Oh, very funny, no? Unsa pa yung mga love quotes diha, mga quarantine, just send it to us, no? Bugna ra bang panahon noon, no? Uwan sa gawas. Okay. Dr. Baton, ano sa pato ang mga love tips nga mahatag sa atong mga quarantine?
Actually, there was a list no, regarding how to keep relationships. No? Individually, you can do something. No? Number one was, actually one of the most significant advice I read sa article was, pray for your partner. Actually, it wasn't framed as more of a spiritual. No? It was framed that because you pray for your partner, you always seek for the betterment of your partner. So it's actually more of knowing what you want, knowing where you want your partner to go, and also getting a sense of what you also want from the relationship. So I think prayer is good, and I think the Filipinos are good at that. We always love to pray, and we always pray for everything and everyone. No?
Yeah.
Kaya daghan kayo mamalit og kandila sa Santo Niño, no? So,
daghan kita dito sa Simala kayo palit-palit na ng color. Dapat Lord na nadyo kay partner sa una, I give me the best man. Sunod nakadugay, just give me a man. ano ba? No?
Last is anyone.
Sunod maluoy na jud ka. So it's prayers.
Okay. And also for us a couple, no, you always enjoy your presence together. No? I think that's also that's also the reason why there is also a lot of breakup right now in COVID-19 and a lot of gender-based violence, because we were not used to staying together for longer periods of time.
Correct.
During quarantine, we were suddenly met with staying together for prolonged periods, more than ilang months pa tayo.
Mabored ba?
Yeah, so there are certain behaviors that you didn't notice when you were working, and suddenly it's right there in front of you na ay banha din siya mukaon, sig pangutot din siya, sig pangout, no, and not doing anything. So that may focus you on the bad things, but one of the ways you improve relationship is you focus also on the good things, no? And be grateful for the relationship, because once you get tired of the relationship, it's very easy to throw it out, no? If you don't see any value in it, you might put it somewhere, forgo looking at it, and sooner or later, you'll grow cold. So, sumapa ni Miriam Santiago, if nanlamig na yan, baka kailangan mo nabusan ng gas para uminit ulit. No?
Nanlamig na yan. Okay.
So, I think that's a bottom line relationships, no? It should not be one-sided.
So basically, I think you have to increase your acceptance level and decrease your expectations.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
ang ganda naman ng ano natin, take away
Feeling, no?
May parang flings ka na ba?
Wala eh. So we have to really accept the person, warts, pimples, and all.
Correct. And there's a message there, Dr. Helen, from Chera again. My mother, ano yun? Can you read it?
Sige, my mother would always tell me that you would know if he's the right one based on how he treats his mother, because that's how he will treat you in the future. Thank you sa advice, Ate.
And I think that's not just for heterosexual couples. It also follows with homosexual couples.
All types of couples.
Yeah, all types of couples. Not just mothers, but how he or she treats other people outside of it. If he can treat someone badly, what can prevent him from treating you the same?
Yes.
So I think that's a good.
Pero there are a lot of things na nabali, no, during the COVID-19 pandemic, because before, you would show your love for your parents if you would always go and visit them. But this time, you show your love for your parents when you keep yourself away so that you will not bring the virus to your parents.
Yeah, that's especially for the frontliners, the healthcare workers at the time of COVID-19. Katong grabe yung kataas nga. You love your family, that's why you stay away.
And even the forms of expressing love. Karon wala na beso-beso,
wala na
mano, wala na handshake. So everything is really like air hugs.
Air hugs. Okay, so then even the form of love, love expressions also changes from time to time. So nagka-develop po siya.
And actually, I want to add something. I think Doc Helen is very good with social media, and we have an emerging trend right now of online, love being online. I think that's also a way that we're actually looking at it from the point of view of another program of HIV that I have. We're really bothered by this particular trend, online forms of love, videos. Because it's another avenue and we don't know where this might lead. It might be good, it might be bad, but our word here is for our young key population, the very young.
Correct.
Because they're more savvy with the internet, this is our word, they might be more vulnerable to this particular form of love or what it might be seen. So actually, COVID really exposed a lot of things.
Grabe ang change na nahatag ni COVID-19, even in the form of love.
That is why I think we always have to be in constant communication with our children, with our loved ones, no, and with our family.
Yeah, with our families there.
Yeah. And I have here, as a sharing in the wrap-up item, Dr. Helen and Dr. Val, I love you. So, unsa lay pasabot sa I love you? Okay. This is from Diane Gilbert, no? I love you means that I accept you for the person that you are, and that I don't wish to change you into someone else. It means that I do not expect perfection from you, just as you don't expect it from me. And I love you means that I will love you and stand by you even through the worst of times. It means loving you when you are in bad mood or too tired to do things I want to do. It means loving you when you are down, not just when you're fun to be with. That's from Diane Laura Gilbert. So that's the meaning of I love you. Ano po? Binasa ko lang po. How about you, Dr. Helen? Do you have your entry?
This is from Lucille Ball. No? Love yourself first, and everything else falls into line. You really have to love yourself to get anything done in this world. Because we go back to the fact
self-love.
You cannot give something that you do not.
Yeah, correct. Kanang mga tao nga di ka love sa uban, meaning wala man na niya ang love. So if you see people who are loving people easily, then it means to say daghan sa love.
Yes.
You cannot give what you don't have. Okay?
Before we go, I'd like to greet a happy birthday to Dr. Reyna Christine Ligaray.
Dr. Ligaray of our Top National Laboratory. Hello, Dr. Ligaray.
Flores Camacho.
Dr. Camacho, happy birthday.
And to Sir Arnold Juana, your head of security.
Happy birthday.
And also to Dr. Maria Melissa Dublin. Hi, Marie.
Hello, hello.
Dr. Arisa.
Ay. Ang daming may birthday ngayon. Happy birthday everyone. Bisag asa mo sa kita, happy birthday gikan sa inyong mga pamilya din sa Vincent Soto Memorial Medical Center. O, pila naman lang yung ka-adlaw before na mag-asko, Dr. Helen. Wow! It's 46 days to go! Before Christmas! Oh, Merry Christmas daan, Dr. Helen! Ang among gift! Bonus to sunod. Bonus na yun! Okay, muna! Ano ka na mag-give music about bonus? I'm sure people are excited, our employees, no? Bisag asa na kita, maka public or private. Happy kita nung bisag na COVID-19. Ako lang gihapong...
We will still celebrate Christmas.
Celebrate Christmas.
Christmas bonus ang pinag-uusapan. We'd like to thank our incident commander, our producer, and medical center chief,
Dr. Gerardo M. Aquino Jr. Of course, our regional director of PhD7, Dr. Jaime Bernadas, and the entire DOH team.
Thank you. And also to our BSMFC sub-national team led by the birthday girl, Dr. Reyna Christine Legalan.
Right, katanan na ito ng mga execo, mga trabahante sa Soto, daghang kayong salamat to our COVID warriors, no? Thank you so much for damang dirigma. Daghang kayong salamat to our healthcare workers, our survivors, di ba, Dr. Helen?
And also our partners, our donors, our sponsors, and to all our ka-quarantine.
Ka-quarantine, hello niya. Dr. Baton, any last words para sa ito ang mga kapamilya, sa mga love, mga 5 years, mga pamilya diha sa DOH?
I think for me lang siguro na I want to message lang siguro, I heard this from Oprah, I don't know if this was from her, but don't come into love seeking completeness. You should come into love, complete yourself. So I think that's...
Thank you so much, Dr. Baton. Thank you so much, no, even with your very busy schedule, naabot ka sa ika 142nd episode sa Soto Live. Kaya nga na, Dr. Helen,
Kay Denise sa Soto.
kalidad nga serbisyo among garbo. Kini sa ito ni Palugaling.
Dr. Helen Madamba.
Mao kini ang Soto Live. Mayong gabi.
Gabi.
Thank you, Dr. Baton.